This program is brought to you by the Media Liberty Alliance Foundation in cooperation with OBBM Network TV, bringing citizen-led, creative local media to the forefront of local communities to foster a greater understanding of constitutional liberty and appreciation of what makes us truly free, starting with you and me.
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mall Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
The Donardi parents in socialist-leaning Brazil were sentenced to 50 days in prison for homeschooling their children. Though their daughters are accomplished pianists who speak multiple languages, a judge ruled their curriculum failed to include state-approved content on gender, sexuality, and cultural diversity. This is what godless government can do and why socialism has no place in America. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Rateliff Show. I'm Zach. This is my friend George.
Hi there.
Hello, George. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's good to be a child of God now if I could just live like it.
Man, and that's exactly right. I want to. I strive to. Oftentimes I don't succeed.
My more than adequate flesh drags me down a very bad hole.
Yeah. No, man, that's and you didn't know this. This is going to tie right into the first news article that I have today. So George is here, and we're just going to go through some news articles of the day, and I just value your opinion, so I thought I'd let you throw in on when you want to.
Well, I think that means you just like to laugh at me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
of course.
good.
Yeah,
we're on the same wavelength.
As long as that's known, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from Kevin Sorbo, also known as Hercules.
Yeah.
But Christian, outspoken Christian.
Yep.
And on X.com, it says the Presbyterian Church, USA, the largest Presbyterian denomination in the United States, has passed a measure expressing support for body-deforming sex change surgery for youth exhibiting gender dysphoria. Then he says, wow, the church has lost its compass.
Yeah, that happened, early last year sometime, I think?
I think that's right.
And Kevin has a great platform to speak from. He's a little naive in certain areas.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, the Presbyterian Church isn't the only one that's done this. Some Methodists have fallen from that same table.
There's been a big break in the Methodist.
There has been, and rightly so. I think maybe that's their chance at a reformation. A lot of churches could use that. Get the fire of God and the Holy Spirit after them and get right back.
Well, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me when people are surprised that the church is under attack. Right?
If they're doing anything for the triune Godhead, they will be under attack.
That's right. So everybody's always like, why is this happening in the church? Well, he doesn't have to mess you up if you're not doing something for God.
That's correct.
And then even if that church isn't, and I'm not disparaging Presbyterians or anybody else, but then it says in the Bible that there will be false teachers. If he can put in someone not that it doesn't truly follow him, but that, feels good and they're fun to listen to, and however you want to take it, man or woman, doesn't matter. And then to encourage a bunch of people to, you can believe 95% of the Bible and go to hell.
Absolutely. You can believe 100% of it and go to hell.
That's true.
Because you don't have to take action on it.
Right.
But you're absolutely spot on, because you don't have to be as crazy and as stupid as Tallarico.
Yeah.
You can be just as subtle, middle of the road. Oh, gee, what a nice guy. And be completely going to hell.
And then they can turn around. Well, a nice God wouldn't do that. Well, he doesn't claim to be nice. He's loving.
He's just.
He's just.
He's righteous.
Yeah. And so, but he's never like, oh, I'm a nice guy. No, that isn't what we get. Now, he loves us and he will discipline us and he will correct us. And he loves us so much that his son died for us. And he has patience with us. Like, okay, we'll work with you some. And he gave us a way. But in the end, it's on us.
Free will.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that is correct. That's hateful. Hurtful to me that a church could be so narrow-minded to actually say that publicly and take that stance publicly, wanting their followers to join them in it.
Right.
That's what I don't understand. How is that such wrong thinking?
Well, that's the problem with everybody, right?
Yep.
It feels good to be liked.
Yeah, you got to be a part of a group.
It feels. I fall victim to it all the time. It feels good to be liked. You don't like to be not liked. You don't like to be ridiculed or talked about. But if someone is talking about you, then they're wrong and you're not wrong. And
you'd like to be valued.
Yeah, you like to be valued, and that. So I understand from the flesh standpoint of, well, everybody else is going to be okay with this, and it's more inclusive. Well, Jesus was not inclusive.
No. No, he didn't walk up and pat those money changers on the back, did he?
No, he
unless
didn't.
He had a whip of cords.
Yeah, I say it all the time. He sat down and he didn't have a whip. He made one.
Yep.
He took the time to stew on it. And then caused a stampede and flipped tables. And he put on a show.
Yeah, you guys just keep on counting out your doves there as I kind of put this together.
Yeah. That's exactly.
I can see him nowadays. He'd be pulling out his HK and screwing on the suppressor. You just keep right on mutilating children when I get this ready.
Well, and that's what he says, right? Better to have a millstone tied around your neck and flung into the ocean than to harm any of these little. That's what's coming.
That's right. And that's a specific treatise that a lot of today's teachers don't know anything about.
Really?
Absolutely. Because they'll say, oh, that's just the Bible. We can't teach that in school. We can't act like that in school. Yeah. You better understand that if you're leading kids astray, especially with this gender nonsense and the porn that's in libraries, et cetera, you've got an additional responsibility that Christ himself gave you.
Yeah, for sure. But once again, we can't. I'm tongue-tied today. We can't expect those who don't believe to act as if they do.
That's correct. It's not on them, but those that say they're believers and lead kids astray, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
those pastors that you see every so often. It seems like there's just a half dozen influential or famous pastors all of a sudden are now charged with child porn or whatever else. We've just had a couple more. So, you know what? We just all need to be square with God, understand what he wants us to do, and do it to the best of our ability, and go forth.
Right. And once again, not saying we're going to be perfect, because we're not.
No.
But we don't have to hurt kids.
Nope.
And we need to speak up if they are getting hurt.
We're forgiven, and we need to take a stand.
Yeah. And sometimes that comes with a cost, too.
Yeah. So, it does.
Anyway, we'll jump to the next one. But you just set us a good opening for it. So I was like, hey, that's perfect.
That's cool.
Okay, from Nick Sorter on X.com. President Trump is seemingly beyond fed up with Europe's BS, is what he says. And then this is a quote from Trump at the NATO meeting in Turkey this morning. With all the money we spend to help them with Russia, we don't have to spend any money. We could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe. Because as you probably noticed, Europe is a very different place than it was 20 years ago.
That is true, and that's well said. We spent $990 billion, in NATO, and over the long time frame. And what the closest one is UK at like $92 billion.
Yeah, 10%.
Over that time. Yeah, 10%. So yeah, I would agree with him on that point. I think right now Israel would be one that says they're tired of Trump's BS.
Right.
We're getting so much conflicting information about what's going on with Iran, et cetera. If I were sitting in the old city right now and knowing that, wow, the guy that really helped us out and was really going forward decided to give my most severe and deadliest and intensive enemy ballistic missiles, specifically the ones that are within range of Israel.
Right.
And then he said, oh, yeah, it's good for them to have that.
Who did he give ballistic missiles to?
Trump. Said the Iranians they could keep their ballistic missiles.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And some other things. So I would be shaking my head and wondering, what are you doing?
Well, there's an interesting pushback in this country right now against Israel.
There is.
That
the pendulum's swinging again.
Yeah, just like we talked about the other day. I understand some of it. I understand the need to stick with the people of God's chosen people, but I don't believe everybody in Israel is that.
No.
Just like I don't believe everybody in our government are Christians. I mean, obviously they're not in Israel; they'd be Jewish. But I don't believe our government to be 100% doing what's right either.
I'll say it forever. Trump lacks discernment. If he's going to have Paula White anywhere near the White House, he obviously lacks discernment. That lady literally was selling, I started to say snake oil, holy water, etc.
Yeah,
and making a profit off of it. And now she's a spiritual advisor of our president. Trump has no discernment. I pray for him every single day that there'll be some kind of light in there that's not just about ego, that's just not about, getting some kind of an award, et cetera, right, but to do the right thing no matter what. Now, he's done more right things than any other president we've had,
right?
I believe. But this one part spiritually, I think, could be his downfall.
And I'll be honest, I don't know anything about Paula White or who that is. Maybe I should look into her. But I do think you see God move in such a way, I believe. I'm not saying that, but you'll see him surround himself with a bunch of pastors and have them lay hands on them. And then when times like they're like, okay. But then, yeah, you'll see him do something like, I don't know. But that's probably what God thinks when he looks at my life. Like, okay, you're doing what?
Oh, he looks worse than that at my life anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, and I understand that. And I'm not trying to be hypocritical here. What I'm trying to say is that you can do the right thing, and you can do the right thing for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
And you can do the right thing for the right reason. And, not all those work out in any form.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get punished for doing the right thing.
That's true.
So I understand that. But for those who say, oh, yeah, he's the greatest and like he's infallible or something, he is far from infallible. He's made some poor decisions personnel-wise. I mean, I don't know why Christy Noam's not behind bars for a $220 million ad, when he's trying to pinch every penny across there. Hegseth, I had some concern with because, you know what? He'd been on the ground. He's been tactical and all that. Leading the country's entire military force on that level is a different deal.
Oh, that's got to be a different monster.
Oh, man, it's night and day difference. But he's also taken some good advice. We've lost some commanders that have been very good in the past that aren't going to get along with that. And that's okay. That happens.
Right.
And let's hope it happened for the right reason for both sides. Hopefully it's not another Petraeus, taking secret information to write his own book while he's
getting exactly what happened.
While he's, making hay with the writer.
Yeah.
So, and if you knew about him in Iraq and how his office operated, you'd say, oh, that's all right in line.
Oh, does that fall in with what's known about him, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. And one of his administrative people that first time there was a siren, happened to be one of my first times back in Baghdad. First time there's a siren, mortars coming in, She runs to the shelter in a helmet and a nightie and nothing else.
That's not good.
No, it's not, especially not in that situation. But he's not spiritually aware. And I was really afraid that since they twisted the law to make his violation just a misdemeanor instead of a felony, I thought, great, now they're grooming another senator.
Right.
So that hasn't happened yet, and I'm going to hope his window of electability is closed.
Yeah, I think they came at him pretty hard there at the end. So he should be. But yeah,
you never know. But again,
you can work miracles through the media.
That's but it's discernment, and I'm real big on discernment. That may be my only gift, and that's not even fulfilled because I keep holding back from the Holy Spirit.
That's an interesting way to put that. Miss Dorothy's talked to me about that on my own account before. So that's interesting. For those of you that don't know Miss Dorothy, she's a godly woman.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
And she will encourage you to be a godly person as well.
Oh, she sure will. Gunther Engelman on X.com. Major win for Marie Le Pen. French court. I started to say far left court.
Same thing.
French court lifts ban. They say the right-wing front runner cleared to run for president in 2027. Marie Le Pen's done more for conservatism in Europe than any. They will never let her win.
No, she's tried. This is going to be her third time. Well, second for that role, but third overall role that she's tried to be a part of. But I know exactly what she feels like. I know when France was just starting to talk about adjusting their immigration policies, and I made something either on X or on Facebook. I said, what's the complaint from France? Or they're having to learn to say, I surrender in Arabic.
Yeah,
so,
and they did.
Yeah, they did. And that's the part that's not funny. They did that, but you should have seen the amount of hate I got. Oh, the French people are da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, every country understands that military surplus from France is the stuff to buy. If you're going to buy a used military rifle, buy it from France because it was only dropped once. So, lots of jokes there.
Yeah, that's funny. I've had the luxury and blessing to have been in France a few times, and it's a lovely, and especially in Paris, a lovely city. Unless you go into the subways, then they stink. But I've always enjoyed it. Yep. But yeah, it's a different atmosphere for sure. Sure.
Well, I got off track there, but yeah, she is too conservative, I think, to win. They won't let her win.
Well, back to Trump talking to NATO, we have created the same thing here, really. Such a secure world through our blood, sweat, and tax dollars of the United States that you can take a 2-hour lunch and you can work a 30-hour work week and you can do all these
You have
things.
the month of August off.
And they do.
Because they have no AC.
That's exactly. Which, rabbit hole on that. They say that's when Washington, D.C. changed. When the elected representatives didn't have to go home from the swamp during the summer. Right? Because Washington, D.C. is in a swamp.
Oh, it's horrible humid.
And so, but once you get air conditioning inside the Capitol and inside the office buildings, well, now they don't have to leave. Now they can stay there. And it's just a side note that it was an aside that I read.
That is wild. I hadn't thought about it. 'Cause I guess in the summer, those cigar smoke and stale booze rooms where they make all their deals would have been really unbearable, huh?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. And so it just made sense to what I know about people. Is like, yeah, you'd go home to where it was, for some people, where it was cooler or where you're at least used to it and the houses are built for it and all that. Because, like my family has, we call it the old house and it's fallen in now, but it's down in Louisiana. But it was one that was made where you could open up the hallway and the air would blow through there. And then, you could open up the windows and but then you could shut it up. And I mean, I never lived there. It was, it was well done in, but I can remember going there to get stuff like, oh, we're going to go to the old house and get, whatever. And it was just an old, I say plantation house, but it wasn't like one of these in the movies with like plantation owners. It was like the worker plantation. But just an old wooden frame house. Well, they were meant for airflow and all that. Well, if you're in DC and you're in a big giant stone building in a swamp that's humid, you don't want to be there for all that.
That's why I had never heard that, but I am sure there was some correlation there. But again, I was for decentralizing DC 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And took a lot of abuse for it then. And I still think that's right. And I still think to some degree that's right for Austin to do, is to decentralize.
Well, we have all the technology to make that.
We do.
There are going to be thousands of people listen to us talk about it all over the country and world because of technology. Now, it's not a secure line or anything, but they can do that.
That's right.
I mean,
if they were really concerned about accountability, they'd have in Texas, it's called the Rule 43A. It's a form. They say, yeah, I agree with this platform, and I also agree to this, and they can write in whatever they want. They would have that. They would have people that they say, hey, I'm accountable as a person and as a politician, as an elected official. I'm accountable to my people, so I'm going to spend most of my time with that person, and then I can gain this other information in our debate technologically and still not leave my people and still be accountable.
Right.
And that attitude you would have thought, oh my gosh, no, that just can't happen. Well, right. It can't happen because all those taxpayer paid and private company funded lobbyists can't make their quotas.
Yeah.
They can't get just one person at a time.
That's exactly right. Well, which we're seeing with the shutdown of USAID, or let's talk about taxpayer funded stuff. We're seeing all kinds of stuff dry up.
Absolutely. Democratic Party, Soros's slush funds are going away. That's an amazing stroke.
Latin American countries are going conservative all of a sudden because they don't have the advertising budget.
That's correct.
That's amazing.
Or the private yacht budget. Yes.
Yeah, that's right too. Eric Doherty on X.com. This is another one about NATO. He says, Trump obliterates NATO, calling them freeloaders who barely deserve his presence if it weren't for Turkey. And then he quotes him and says, Italy turned us down, Germany turned us down, France turned us down. Very disappointed in NATO. Yeah, that's exactly right. And he's talking about when we went to Iran, they wouldn't open their airspace to us. They wouldn't let us use bases that we pay for and fund out of their countries.
Bases and airspace, etc. I thought he had a good relationship with Italy.
Yeah.
And they were one of the first to say, no, not no, but hell no.
Because she was, well, I've also read that they got to her. What's her name? The Prime Minister? Maloney. Because she was fawning over Trump at first. And then I read back in, I want to say December or January, but I don't know if that's right. It might have been February. That they got to her.
I think you're right about December because there was a definite cliff event. The next time that she's with him, she's rolling her eyes and she's backing off, and that's okay. But I get a lot of the military or equipment or whatever newsletters and feeds, etc. What this is doing to NATO, though, it's also making them more creative. Right. They're coming out with a lot more of the drone defense that I've asked for. They're coming up a lot more with the individual soldier defense, like an accurate RPG that doesn't cost $13 million a shot. Right. You know, and this kind of stuff. They're coming out with that stuff now, and there'll be a time where tactically there's a possibility, or at least the opportunity, for NATO to come up higher in effectiveness per pair of boots on the ground than what the U.S. is now.
Right.
I'm still shocked that the U.S. spends $3 million on a missile to take out a $3,500 technical.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know that we've been rolling out our direct energy stuff to take out more missiles now. That, of course, I had somebody on the ground in Jordan a couple of years ago that told me that they pretty much, 70% or better defended their base with directed energy weapons in Jordan at that time.
Whose base? A U.S. base?
Well, where he was.
All right, I'm pretty well familiar with
U.S. technology. I don't know that he never clarified if it was a U.S. base.
There were CRAM types, but of course that's basically just radar guided old technology.
He said they could heat them up and watch them explode in the sky.
Yeah, back then I think there was short range stuff, and I haven't been in Jordan in a military sense or environment for, oh gosh,
this was
10 or 11 years.
This was in the last 5 years that he.
It could be. There are some cheaper short range versions of that stuff already out. Japan is building the railguns right now with heavier projectiles than ever used before.
Oh, wow. Those railguns are terrifying if you look into them.
Oh my gosh! I'm not sure what they couldn't hit in space.
Right.
So there's a lot of that going on, but space where data centers will flourish.
Okay. Well, they say we're at $1,000 per pound on launch now, or something like that. And if we get to 300, then they can put something. I think I've got an article on that coming up. I can't remember exactly the math on that, but there's a number there where there's a break even to go into space with data centers, and then because you don't have the electrical build out, you just attach the solar fins, put it in the right kind of orbit, and let it be hot and cold all day.
You betcha. And it's got the cold to cool it. It's got, you can make huge, long cooling areas with it. I mean, there is something to that. I'm still of the ilk that by the time you get ready to build that, we're going to be into quantum technology and Neuralinks and other things, ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits that are better designed to split the workload of existing data centers. I mean, ASICs have been around for decades, long time. But now to get them to where they can actually feed each other and divide those duties up and process faster with fewer rotation cycles, then I think we'll be into quantum technology within the next 7 to 8 years.
Wow.
So maybe 10. If the economy goes, spiraling down into the porcelain, then it's going to take a little bit longer. But
strong economy leads to stronger R&D, and so that's
Roger that.
That's how you get.
Yes. I'm trying to quit saying that.
Yeah, my name isn't even Roger. All right, so this is from Mike Lee on X.com. He says, passing the Save America Act now as Democrats are well, it says cratering would close the deal for us in November. This is one thing we're not talking about. The Democrat Party is falling apart right now. This guy up in Maine, he's definitely come into some problems. I've got some articles on him.
See, where's my Nazi tattoo?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. The Democrat Party and back to the USAID and the Soros stuff, they're not getting the funding that they had now that we've cut off their funding arm, which was the American taxpayer.
That's exactly right. But there's a problem with that thinking. He's thinking that Democrats are logical.
Right.
That's not the case. If they can't see through a Tallarico, they can't see through this moron in Maine, who I think is supposed to bow out of the race here in the next week or two. You never know.
See what pride's hard to overcome.
Yeah, let's see if Mom Donnie backs him.
Yeah, there's a chance.
So,
that'd be funny.
But if they're doing that kind of thing, and 7,000 Jews voted for Hitler when it was a very critical time. They could have stopped it then.
Yeah,
but get off the point. But still, the Democratic vote is less logical. It's more emotional. It's more, it's more independently anti-establishment than ever before.
Yeah.
They're not even looking at their candidates. They just say, well, this it's not a Republican. It's somebody against Trump. So we're going to go do it. That's what I have against his statement. What he's saying is correct. It's just, I'm not sure that's exactly. If the Democratic Party were logical, it'd be a done deal.
But the same thing with the Republican Party. I mean, it's got an R behind it. No, just because that doesn't make them right.
Absolutely.
That doesn't make them the only, now based on my principles, Jesus is Lord. He's the way to heaven. Be a good dad, be a good son. That leads me to vote for Republican more often. However, if the party moves, my principles will not move, and I'll still be voting for whoever represents those principles.
That's correct. And I think that's the proper stance for a responsible person. Problem is, like me, I'm so full of hearing about the Republican Party doing nothing and absolutely nothing. They can't pass the SAVE Act when 88% of the entire population wants it. You tell me something's not wrong there.
Tell me they're not sabotaging our president, still gaveling in the session every, day or two. Is Mitch McConnell dead? Nobody knows. I think we've got that article coming up. He's at least brain dead now, from all reports.
Yeah.
They're not reporting on that. Thune claimed to have talked to him. Well,
was that at a seance?
Yeah, I don't. That's exactly right. Maybe because it wasn't through Jesus up there in Washington D.C. I'll tell you that.
No.
So the Republicans are just as bad.
They are.
The problem is the Democrats at least tell you that they're going to be that bad. The Republicans act like they're for you, and then they're just not.
Yep. Here's our values. We're Republicans. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. All right, let's keep going because the next one is about Mitch McConnell. This is from Mel. And it's at Village Crazy Lady on X.com. So at Village Crazy Lady on X.com. So basically, Mitch McConnell is a vegetable on life support in the hospital. And because his wife fled to China, there's no one with the power of attorney to pull the plug or give up his seat, which is likely by design because if the seat were vacated before August 3rd, they would have to have an election where Thomas Massey could then run for Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot to unpack there. Number one, Mitch McConnell's wife is a Chinese national, meaning her sister is a Chinese national who worked for the Chinese Communist Party. And then what's the first meeting that McConnell's wife took when she got to China? With the Communist Party. So instantly your husband takes a whatever spill. He gets gone to the hospital. Look, a lot of people have gone through deaths in the family or whatever. What's the first thing you do? You go up to your family and you sit with them in the hospital and you start making arrangements and you do. It's not fly across the world and just say to hell with them.
No, there's already a plan in place.
Yeah. And she's going to answer to her overlords. We know the Chinese have been trying to get into our government, just like they did with Dianne Feinstein, 20-year limo driver.
They have gotten into the government.
What's the guy's name that had the...
Swalwell?
Yeah, Swalwell. I mean... That's just two examples that are commonly known. I'm sure there are plenty that I don't know.
I'm sure there are not hundreds, but thousands of incidents of the same. And then, of course, we've got Slick Willie's given at that time what was absolutely cutting edge technology to the Chinese, free of charge. Here, come take this.
For a mere endowment into the Clinton Foundation, yeah, which that's a whole other thing. But don't worry. But that was pre-modern internet.
Yes.
And that's what the modern internet has changed for us, is all of a sudden we can see all these things. If Elon Musk hadn't have bought Twitter and made it X,
Trump would not be president, number one.
Yeah, Trump would not be president, but there would be no free exchange of idea either.
There would not.
So, I mean, it's just...
And that's what bothers me with some of the Democrats that I talk to every day that aren't thinking when I say, wait a minute, what about this and this and this? Is, oh, I don't believe any of that. Well, whether you believe it or not, it still could be so, right?
Yeah.
But yet they're the same thing. The internet's out there blowing up about these people. Good grief. They've been blowing up about Swalwell for a long time. Sorry, that is what I call him on X and Facebook. But that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
The opening line that you read about Mitch McConnell, being on is probably a vegetable. I was afraid you were going to say that was written 3 years ago.
Well, we've seen him space out in a few.
Absolutely. Freeze up and just kind of,
yeah.
Pelosi, I don't know if she's drunk as often as they say she is, but there is something wrong there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Okay, this goes into the Democrat Party. From back to Eric Doherty on X.com. He says, just in, the Democratic Party just pulled funding from Graham Plantner, that's the guy in Maine, and told him to drop out of the U.S. Senate race after major rape allegations. Which, okay. But here's the deal. They only did it because people knew. They already knew these allegations were out there.
Those are old allegations.
Yeah, the Democrat Party already knew. They only did it because it hit mainstream. Just like you were saying, he already has a tattoo of a Nazi tattoo on his chest. Had it covered up, But I don't have any tattoos. However, if I was going to get one, it would be something that I cared about. It would mean something to me.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, just ink me up, but I don't want it to mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was earlier in life. Okay, maybe it was.
Then you've had X number of years to undo it.
Exactly right. And so it says, wow, the memo went out. Planter is done. Leftist voters chose Planter. They should have to deal with him. So that's the thing too, is they're trying to get him out before the 12th, I think, so they can put a new candidate.
Exactly right. And that also gives them an excuse. Well, they know that they missed the boat when they didn't axe him for having the tattoo that was not corrected.
Right.
I mean, I could have put a great big red X over it saying, hey, I'm against Nazism.
Yeah.
Whatever. Could have done that for years. Okay. Now it gives them an excuse. Says, oh, yes, these rape allegations that are 3 and 8 and 4 years old.
Right.
Now let's use those because we really do need to get rid of him so he's electable.
Well, and that's what you'll notice with these major parties. They'll give you a shot across the bow once they realize hey, this looks like this could come out.
Yep.
If you don't, okay, we're going to circle back and get you.
Right. And everybody says, well, that shows you the system works both in nominations and in elections. No, the system doesn't work.
No.
We had Paxton is just now going to be our senator once he beats Tallarico, et cetera. Well, how long did his opponent was he in office doing the wrong things for the right people?
Right. And just even that primary election just drug on and on and on. Whereas everybody on the ground, we knew, the grassroots, I feel like, knew who was going to win that.
Absolutely.
But it took $100 million to try to sway a whole lot of votes that Cornyn had a shot.
And that's a huge point right now. They put all that money against Cornyn or for Cornyn against Paxton when they could have used that money someplace else, like in the actual election, not just the primary.
Yeah, let's see if they'll do that for Paxton. I don't think they will.
They won't.
I don't think Thune will do it, and I think I said once Cornyn lost the primary that he would be a thorn in the Republican majority side, and
he was. You called that one spot on. Within a week of you saying that, he was already doing it. But now Paxton, he shot himself in the foot or someplace more sensitive. He's off in Iceland with his girlfriend.
Right. Which he's not the senator yet.
No, but this is an election year and people are making note of it.
Yeah, I get it. But that doesn't bother me as much as a senator who won't do what he says he's supposed to do.
No, and I agree with that. But my point is, if you're going to start making missteps, That time is not now. Let's push hard and make sure that this Tallarico does win. By all matter of thinking, Tallarico shouldn't even be a nominee.
The Democrat Party is pushed to such a, my grandmother was a Democrat, and even then, I don't think she believed most of what the party had become. But I promise you, she wouldn't. This is not the Democrat Party. Now, I say that. I think the Democrat Party's been lying for a long time about who they were.
Yes.
And so how extreme they were is just now coming to the surface. But they were able to lie to your generational farmers and your rural Americans that we're for you, and they had never been for them. They've never been for them.
What did they actually do for them?
Yeah, nothing. Even the New Deal created more famine and more problem. It made the Depression last longer than it should have.
And then the subsidies. Oh yeah, we're out there for you, farmer. Produce less.
Yeah,
that didn't work.
No, it never works. Let's see. Okay, this is from Rand Paul. It has been removed.
Oh, has he put Fauci in handcuffs yet?
Rand Paul? I don't know. But what he says is you cannot flood local housing markets with millions of people and expect prices not to rise.
Rise, exactly true.
Well, that's in Texas. There are 2 million renters that are illegal, at least.
At least.
Well, no one, you can't, if you want, you can go to one of our worst neighborhoods here in town, and you want to rent a 3-bedroom, 1-bath frame house, World War II house built for the base in the 40s, and it's $900 or $1,000.
Yep.
And you're going to hear gunshots, and you're going to see some smack being sold, and it's $1,000. Well, that's crazy when that's the base. I mean, that's not good.
No.
I wish that wouldn't have been taken down, but Rand Paul was probably too on top of it. All right, this is from Storm News on X.com. Breaking: CIA Director John Ratcliffe just confirmed that John Brennan, James Comey, and Hillary Clinton are likely to be indicted. I haven't seen that anywhere else. No. I think that's fake, but the reason I put this up here was Trump was indicted too. Just because someone's indicted, it doesn't mean they're guilty, and that's what I wanted to go into with that. I don't think that's a real story. Number one, I guess I could
I don't either. If you're the blue collar Joe, if you're indicted, yeah, you're going to prison. But if for these people, no. Hillary is never going to do time. Bill Clinton's never going to do time. Comey's not going to.
Yeah.
Fauci's going to laugh his cocktail hour away, every day.
Yeah. This is another one. This is from Laura Loomer, and she's worth paying attention to.
She is. She and Data Republican.
Yeah.
Or Data Republican X. I'm trying to remember her most current call sign. Those two people are on it. Data Republican can research anything, anybody, anywhere.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, here's what Laura Loomer says. She says, a very high-level source told me Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead and machines are keeping him alive, but he is he's now a vegetable and he's never coming back. And then she points out the same thing we did. So why is his wife, Elaine Chao, in China instead of by his side? And of course it says, is she a CCP spy? Which I've always believed her to be. Anyway.
She didn't have to be a spy. I can just be a phone call home. I mean.
Yeah. Well, and they're listening.
Yeah. And the NSA has done what about it?
Yeah. No.
And the DNI has done what about it?
Did you see this on the, as far as you were talking about the economy and what it's going to do? This is from another one from Eric Doherty. In a stunning blow to experts, Japanese automaker Toyota has refused to produce the Tacoma pickup in Mexico. Instead, they're putting a $3.5 billion investment into Texas, and they're going to start building them here in Texas.
Yeah, we're building the Tundra here now, right? Down by San Antonio.
We built the Tundra, and now they're going to bring the Tacoma.
Down in Tacoma. Well, that'll be the volume maker, and I'm sure that's part of the pressure that Trump rightly put on them to do that. We support Toyota more than any other country in the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can look across. Well, Really, you can't see it from right here. But across most parking lots, there's a bunch of Toyotas and a bunch of them driving around that have a Texas flag on them, say "Made in Texas."
Made in Texas, yeah. Made here or born here, made here, bought here, or something like that. But yeah, absolutely, and that's a proud thing. Now, even those that are built here in Texas, there's still a lot of foreign content in automobiles. I think the average is somewhere around 38-40% foreign content for any car made in the U.S. And you know what? In a global economy like automotive is,
right?
That is not bad.
I just had this one because I thought it was funny. From CBS News, Florida man is accused of stealing Smokey the Bear signs and selling them on Facebook, and he's going to get up to 10 years in prison for it. Only you can be dumb enough to sell what you've stolen on Facebook. That was my thought when I heard that. I'm like,
you know, Shooting Times magazine used to have an article every issue, and I don't remember who did it. It was called the Dumb Crook Lineup. Here's a guy that just got out of prison.
Yeah,
his buddies pumped him all up, saying, "Hey, put lemon juice all over your face when you go in and rob a bank, and the cameras can't see through it." Yeah, real life.
You know, I always say there's no smart criminal, but I just say the smart criminals don't get caught.
The smart criminals you don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, that's
and a lot of them are in office.
You
don't know about them yet.
Yeah, they're making the laws. They know how to get around it. I have this note, so then we'll see what the article says. It says, just think what they would win if they actually worked for our good. This has to be about Republicans. Let's see. Wow, in a terrifying development for Democrats, Republicans are forecast to win 215 seats in the House this November to the Democrats' 206. Meaning Republicans need just 21% of the swing seats. Yeah, that's with everyone hating them. Just think if they actually did what the people wanted, they'd win every seat. Every seat.
It'd be a real uniparty. There's only one, and that, you know, actually that could have taken place, you know, to the 80 percentile type thing.
Right.
But with inaction, with not holding ourselves accountable, with not taking, not exploiting the opportunities that are presented to us. Why?
And really, I didn't feel like Mike Johnson was going to be a strong speaker. And I still don't feel like he is. However, right now the House can pass anything, and he knows the Senate isn't going to do it. So it's really making him look good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We passed all this stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys won't do it.
Yeah, he can do no wrong. He can pass whatever he wants. But since the Senate's got their head up a dark, stormy place.
Yeah, nobody's. Well, I can't do it. We sent it through the House. So really, all House Republicans have a good outlook. Hey, we did it. It's the Senate's problem, and the Senate's just the patsy right now.
But I think that there's two things. There's that, which is true, and the other thing is, I think he did understand when there was a huge uproar here about 6 months ago about him being worthless and not at least getting to take the votes on it. That I think that did kind of work on Mike.
That's true. He did start taking votes,
right? And now Thune, who I was amazed even got to that level at all.
Oh,
Why is he still there? We've had 6-8 months worth of absolutely nothing out of this guy.
We've got to get back. We got to repeal the 17th Amendment on that.
Yes, we do. And I'm going to invest my money in stocks of tar and feathers.
Yeah, good. Somebody's got to keep the tar industry alive. This is another one from Eric Doherty. In a massive scandal, the Federal Reserve has quietly admitted that Biden's illegal alien invasion surged home prices by 30%. And we just talked about that.
And that's not surprising. But unfortunately, because those prices rise, you know, education groups like Texas A&M are making hay, say, oh, yeah, we're spending this money now because prices are going up. And there's no reason for them to be spending that kind of money.
Yeah.
There's facilities out there. They're vacant. There are a number of, like Tarleton and Fort Worth. They've got vacancies over there. But yet we're going to go spend $200 million on a new facility for A&M just in time for it to be completely obsolete by digital learning.
The spend dollar on these institutions is absurd.
It's empire building.
Yeah.
And that's why they were so resistant to DEI, because they got into that so they could even increase their funding even more so they can say, oh, yeah, we want to teach our teachers how to convince kids to mutilate themselves, et cetera. And then nothing happened for months.
No.
It wasn't until there was a real outcry in Texas that Abbott got on board and said, oh, yeah, I guess this is
that's
wrong.
the Abbott way.
Yeah. Let's wait till there's a real outcry.
And then we'll say we'll do something, then we won't.
We'll say it, We'll word some kind of decree or resolution that vaguely refers to it, but there's so many loopholes in it and there's no enforcement to it that it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
That's the Abbott way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, this is another one from Eric Doherty. Did you watch the Trump speech on the 4th of July?
It did.
So this is from part of it. Quote, "You can be loyal to Karl Marx or you can be loyal to America," end quote, from Donald Trump during that speech. And then he went on to paint them against communism. It's freedom versus communism. And I think that's where it will come down to in this election. That's the paint job that the Republican Party led by Trump is going to try to present.
But is that going to really ring true with that undecided voter, whether Democrat or Republican, either one? Because I don't think either one of them are children of the 50s that knew the Red Scare, that don't understand McCarthyism for both the fallacy and the truism that it is.
Well, yeah. So you're looking at people my age and younger that we have no idea what communism is, right? I mean, when I was in first grade, George Bush was president and then lost the election to Bill Clinton. So that's the world we grew up. It was the same thing with the whole racism thing. We didn't grow up in a segregated world. I have zero memory of ever having a class.
Weren't part of the marches, didn't understand the lynchings. So
we just have friends of all colors, and we'll all get together and talk about, like, this is crazy. Like, why do they keep pushing this?
If he's trying to re-educate your generation about communism, I don't think there's a buy there.
Because the communists have won that battle in the education system.
In the education system they have. In the real world, obviously they haven't. Russia fell apart. Or I should say the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics has fallen apart.
Yes.
China, not so much, but it's just plain dictatorship. It doesn't care about communism or anything else.
Yeah, it's a dictatorship, and they've taken on some free market style principles to prop their economy.
Otherwise, they would have fallen apart like USSR.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't think there's a buy there. I'd rather.
It's going to have to be a boomer buy. It can't be anybody 40 and under.
No, and most of the boomers have pretty much made up their mind. I say that knowing that I've just gotten blasted from a couple of guys that think that they say that they're Christians and conservatives, etc., with some off the unbelievable wall ideas about what we should be doing with our money and our expertise. So, yeah, maybe there is a point that he can get to some of that, but it's not a big one. I'm not sure. What do you think that your generation would see as a diametrically opposed?
You know, I'm part of the elder millennial group. So we're the ones that born in the 80s, still knew analog and new digital, right? We can remember 9/11.
You can set a VHS.
I know what a Betamax is. I know the tracking knob on a VHS tape, but also am fluent in iPhone and everything else. I think there's some communism play there because we heard our parents talk about it. But did we ever do atom or nuke bomb test in the hallways?
Duck and cover?
Yeah, no. But we did do tornado tests for them and just put books over our heads, which is real weird. You know, but we so
well, you were going to get the book thrown at you no matter what. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think there's something there. I don't know. It's going to take, like you said, he's going to have to educate a lot of people as to what communism did. But if he's starting to talk about it now, he's just going to have to beat that drum.
He can beat that drum, but I think I would also appeal to lifestyle.
Yeah.
Look how far we sank economically, lifestyle, freedom under Biden.
Well,
we lost a lot of freedoms because we gave them all to illegal immigrants. We're the ones that paid for that.
That's right. Now, to that point, if he could beat this drum and make the lifestyle play by saying, look at what people are saying about how great our country is because of the World Cup.
Oh, that montage is fantastic. I love it.
if he could say, this is what communism and socialism has given you, look at what they're all used to, look at how excited they are to be here, then knowing my group's watching TikTok and X and all that, and then he can say, this is what you could get, this is socialism, this is communism.
And that's the lifestyle that I'm talking about.
And that's what, so maybe that's the play.
I think that's absolutely spot on, Zach, because I think if you see a constrained democracy, which is what UK is, the formerly United Kingdom, compared to what it's open and unrestricted, technically, in the US, look at the world of difference. Every Brit that I worked with, and I worked with a lot, I always told them, you don't know how to eat. Come to the States. We'll put a meal on for you. And that's the first thing all these foreigners are saying. And when they're on TikTok and X and Facebook, they're saying, oh my gosh, this food is so marvelous. And you have air conditioning.
I flew into London one time, left out of DFW, flew into Heathrow, had family there. I was meeting them, I think at the hotel. They were going to a play or something. Because we've always operated under the banner of jet lag isn't as bad if you just hit the ground and start going.
Exactly. Adjust the clock for whatever it is when you get there.
Yeah. And side note, I don't sleep well on planes, so any Atlantic flight ever makes just tough on me because I'm just awake. But anyway, get there. I'm gonna take the train or whatever into town, and what do they call it there? It's the
tube.
The tube.
Oh my!
Well, no, not the tube. Because the tube. What goes under the channel?
Tube's underground. Yeah. Oh, you mean the channel?
Oh no, I didn't use the channel this time. So yeah, the tube. But anyway, I get to the ticket counter, and as I'm the next person up, I'm in the queue, and as I get to step up, he slaps a sign up, "Going for lunch." I said, "Hey man, I'm the next guy." He said, "I don't care. This is my scheduled lunch hour." And I look at the line beside me, and the lady goes, "You can go to the end of this line," And so I just went out and called a cab, hailed a cab, which is not cheap.
No.
Going from Heathrow to downtown. And anyway, made it all happen. But I thought, that's socialism.
Pretty much.
They don't care that you've been waiting. This is my scheduled time to go. I will go. There's no concern for you or what you want to do. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So,
and that same thing could happen here, especially if you're in New York. But I'm surprised at how polite people. I mean, I was afraid we were going to hear, things about, beating up foreigners or whatever, that kind of stuff. But that montage that even the White House put out and others that I've seen, I think that really does reflect the spirit of America.
Yeah. All right. Here's our talking about communism and all that. Like I said, we're just running through articles today, just have fun discussion. This is from Hillbilly on X.com. Nikita Khrushchev, reminder of what Khrushchev said 60 years ago. Your children's children will live under communism. You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism outright, but we will keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you finally wake up and you find you already have communism. We will not have to fight you. We will so weaken your economy until you will fall like overripe fruit into our hands. The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who are not. That was September 29th, 1959.
Yeah. And I'm not going to take my shoe off and beat it on the table like he would, but we have that. And I'm going to make a generality that people will ask for my blood. We have that already, what he said, and we call it education. So don't really care who wants to stand up and say, no, that's not true. I said, yes, absolutely. In a lot of ways, especially over the last 20 years, our education system has failed us, and we've allowed to do it. Just like here in Texarkana, where you've got grade D and F schools. Yeah. Didn't happen overnight. No. But yet we've got a school board, and I've said very loudly, anybody that's been on that school board longer than 2 years needs to resign due to incompetence.
There's a few here that are having problems. This is another one from Eric Doherty. I just like the stuff that he grabs, and it's usually right.
Yep.
But another quote from Donald Trump. He says, over 273 Americans have been shot since we began the war with Iran. And that's all in Chicago.
I was going to say I don't think that, but yeah. We had 3 killed just over the holiday weekend and 17 shot, and 3 or 4 stabbed as well.
So 273 Americans have been shot in Chicago since we haven't had boots on the ground in Iran, but since we've been in that war space.
There is nuclear research and other. I know Navy used to send all their nuclear training students up to Chicago. They had the birth of fission there. So they have nuclear material and nuclear weapons. So according to our latest precedent here in Iran, wouldn't it be appropriate to bomb Chicago?
Oh, go get it. We need that dust. Let's see, we got time. Bishop Fulton Sheen on X.com. America, it is said, is suffering from intolerance. It is not. It is suffering from tolerance.
Yes, exactly.
Tolerance of right and wrong, to truth and error, virtue and evil, Christ and chaos. Our country is not nearly so overrun with the bigoted as it is run with the broad-minded. Yeah, that's a great point.
That's really well said. I like that. It's not just broad-minded. It's somebody that's had no purposeful, no valuable inhibitions in their mind, where they're just open to every single thing that comes floating through.
Yeah. Well, let's see if that adds. Yeah, I think that statement said itself. That's why.
Yep, that's great.
I included it. Grandpa's free advice on X.com. Benny Johnson says Hakeem Schumer and Pelosi are panicking over the commie wave. Hakeem's face is tuning in panic right now. I think that's right. They're scared about the communism rise. They got to figure it out. I think not that they're against it.
I was just saying I wouldn't think they're afraid
just
of it all.
Against us. They're against the main population, knowing they're for it.
Right.
Teddy Roosevelt from the Conservative Alternative.
One of my favorites.
Christianity was saved in Europe solely because the people of Europe fought it. If the peoples of Europe in the 7th and 8th century had not possessed a military equality with the Muslims, the Christian religion would be exterminated.
That's correct.
And that's what brought on the Crusades.
It would have been, yeah. And of course, we took a lot of heat for that because in war, like anything else, there's opportunities to do all manner of evil.
Well, and who was it said, kill them all and let the Lord decide?
We used to have a patch actually that said, kill them all and let God sort them out.
Yeah, but it was like one of the kings from back then.
Exactly right. Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember Pope Urban.
I don't know.
No,
even if you said it, I won't know.
Yeah.
But it's quoted in history as being, kill them all and let God sort it out, and we'll see what happens. I mean,
yeah, that's not right either.
No, that's not. Okay, that's another NATO thing. Let's just see. The North Carolina legislature has overridden the Democrat governor's veto, forcing a new law to take effect that blocks taxpayer funds from going to illegal housing and welfare. That's from Eric Doherty. Good.
I'm shocked, actually, that they banded together in such unity to be able to do that. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
That's like us firing the Senate parliamentarian.
Right. Yeah, which we should. All right, here's this, kind of back to what they were saying about the Crusades and everything. This is from Imitz Mahmoud. Before the Crusades, 2/3 of the Christian world had already fallen under Islamic rule. Your school probably skipped that part. They taught you the Crusades began in 1095, as if the Christians woke up one morning and decided to march east for no reason. But history did not begin in 1095. By then, Islamic armies had already conquered massive portions of the Christian world. They had conquered Syria, Egypt, North Africa, the Holy Land, and Spain. In 711 AD, Islamic forces crossed into Spain. By 732, they had pushed all the way into France. This is where Charles Martel met them at the Battle of Tours and stopped the advance into Western Europe. Some historians consider it one of the most decisive battles in world history. So when people talk about their Crusades without mentioning the 400 years before them, they are not giving you history. They are giving you a narrative. Were the Crusades complicated? Of course. Were the Christians perfect? No. But the idea that the Crusades were some random act of Christian aggression is historically dishonest. The real story begins long before 1095, and once you know what happened before the Crusades, the entire conversation changes. Once again, that's Emet Muhammad on X.com. I think that's exactly, I mean, I know that's exactly
absolutely right. And really well framed, well said.
You know, and that's what we have to look at when we look at what's happening to Europe, Western Europe, currently. Because Turkey it's already gone. I mean,
it has been forever.
Yeah, you know, and so that's what's happening again. There's a step, but it's not a military push yet. But it is once you get a no-go zone, once police can't go there, once, you know, and I read, well, just like in Ireland, I tried to cut off that guy's head the other day. And the Irish say, whoop, we've gone to a couple of beheadings, and all of a sudden people are going to start paying attention. Now, it might be too far gone, and they might have such controls over their media.
Exactly.
That nobody knows, but there wasn't media in 1095 either.
But then how can you excuse what London has turned into? They've known about those rape gangs for, what, a decade?
Yeah.
You know, they've got a blind-eyed mayor.
Yeah.
Starmer, I guess, is no longer whatever.
Has he stepped down yet? They said he was going to, but I hadn't seen that happen.
I don't think that I've seen the formalization of that either. And that's kind of like how I'm talking about our elected accountability. There needs to be not just a recall notice. I mean, there needs to be, okay, here's 2 letters on this. Here's 3 letters on this. People are dying. Here's the urgency. Here's the eject button. You're gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to do that correctly without it being misused.
That's the problem, because then the other side gets it, and
exactly.
Then it's an issue.
And then everybody else goes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how to do that. I just think maybe public outcry. And I got accused of trolling. I said, no, I'm not trolling. I'm calling out a person, a group, specifically a gun rights group that supported Abraham George, even though they knew right in front of them that was not the right way to go for Republicans, and that was not a true picture of our values.
Right.
So now every time I speak against your lack of discernment, that's trolling? No, that's calling you out, pull your head out, get out of politics, and stay on the 2A side of things instead of
stay where you need to
trying to, yeah. It's not really a stay in your lane speech. It's more like do where you can do the most good, where you know what you're talking about.
Right.
They didn't know anything about what they were talking about in the Republican Party. So same thing that I'm getting at now. What is the most appropriate in a matter of urgency way to get not only an elected's attention, but accountability?
You know, that's so tough.
And no politician is going to answer that question.
Not once they're in power.
No.
They will once they're trying to gain power.
Yeah, they'll feed us that line, that pablum, to where, okay, he's fat, dumb, and happy. He's in front of the TV listening to the prayer call outside his window. Yeah. And there won't be anything for him to do.
I don't know. I don't have that answer. And the problem is I don't think anybody else does either.
I don't either.
Well, all right. Well, we've made it through all the articles I had. George, thanks for coming in. I enjoyed it. Good conversation. Thank all of you for listening, and we'll be back and do it all again tomorrow. I hope God blesses each and every one of you.
Jesus saves.
There you go.